Michael Blaustein is a comic force to be reckoned with. He's performed in front of thousands of people. Millions of them tune into his podcast, Stiff Socks. In front of the crowd, he's unstoppable, but behind the curtain, he's carried a lot of pain. In his lowest moment, Michael found a book that changed everything.
This was the last book that I really felt emotionally connected to. So it was the first book that came to my brain in an extreme way.
Because it had such an impact on you?
Because it had such an impact. I mean, I was reading it. I said out loud, like, I felt like I was like reading my diary. Like, it was just everything that I ever felt about just perfectionism and what made me tick and what made me tick in a negative way was in that book. So I to answer your question, it's a very roundabout way. I don't think there was ever a book that did impact me like that. Like the Four Agreements, I think, did something to me. The Alchemist did something to me. And I found those books in just a very unique way. You know, like, I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like books find you.
Oh, it's magical.
Yeah.
Like, you can't explain. You ever like listen to or read the stuff Jung says about synchronicity?
No.
But it's kind of like that. Is like people come on the show, and this has happened to me too, where they're like, oh, I don't know, I just went in and that was the book and I got it, or somebody gave it to me. But there's always this magical thing about how the book that you need sometimes appears right when you need it. It's crazy, because I had a scenario when I was 24. I was really struggling. Like, I'd moved to Portland, Oregon for a gig. I wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
I had to decide if I want to go back to Seattle. Yeah. I'd kind of sold everything I was all in, and it wasn't working. Yeah. And I was right in every scenario that the company I was working for kind of screwed me. Okay. That they would tell me one thing and something, I was right, but I wasn't getting anywhere being right. Right. And I walk into this bookstore and I'm broke. And for some reason, I bought How to Win Friends and Influence People. Okay. And an hour later, I'm on a park bench in downtown Portland by myself, crying. Yeah, yeah. And why did the title doesn't even make sense. No. Like, How to Win Friends and Influence People didn't match how I was feeling.
Feeling right.
I'm feeling, how do I dig out of a hole and not, be a loser? Right.
Yeah, a book that it's a book that is trying to find me right now. And again, I don't know if you have felt like this, but this Psychology of Money, I don't even know what the book is about, but it is trying to find me. 2 times I was in Hudson News just messing around. I'm always traveling, so I'm always in a Hudson News, and I'm just messing around buying Twix or whatever. And maybe in the last month, I just picked it up, just read a few pages, and then a couple weeks later, I'm in Phoenix or whatever, and I pick it up, and it keeps finding me. I'm getting a haircut, this might be a week ago, and I'm you're stylist, whatever. You're pretty cool with this person. He's like, "What's going on?" Blah blah. And I'm like, "What's going on with you, man?" Man, I'm reading this new book. I go, "Cool, man. What book?" It's like, Psychology of Money. And I'm like, "What is happening?" Never heard about this book before in my life. And in the last month, it's been trying to find me. And even as I'm talking about it, I'm getting a little chills. It's the energy of a book is so weird. And it's I don't even know what's in the book. I don't even know what's it about. Apparently it's one of those things it's not even about money. It's about psychology and your inner workings or whatever. But I'm so excited to read that book because I feel that it is energetically trying to find me, which is fucking so cool.
Magical.
It is, dude. You have a whole thing about magic. It's great.
Oh yeah, I love magic. I love psychology, all of that. How did The Alchemist come into your life? That book, did somebody tell you about it, or?
So yeah, same magical elements of it. This girl that I had a crush on was telling me just about The Alchemist. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. I'm gonna go buy it. And she said to me, she goes, no, don't buy it. It'll find you. And I'm like, and she was like a hippie dippy type. So I wasn't like, whoa, why'd you say that? But it was that feeling. And I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to you. And no one said, don't buy the book, it'll find you, ever in my life. I was probably 21 or something. And lo and behold, maybe a year later, I was with my other friend at this acting conservatory, and I was at her place. We were rehearsing, and we were doing, I forget what scene, whatever it was, Streetcar Named Desire, just to give a context. And I was like moving around in a weird way. I hit her bookshelf, and the only book that fell off her bookshelf was The Alchemist. And it hit the ground, and I was like, I mean, I gotta pick, like, all right, I get it. Like, I get it. And I just picked it up, and I read it, and it was so, I mean, it is a very like profound book, and especially like when you're 21, 22, 23, like sort of coming online, trying to like gather opinions and thoughts and trying to figure out how to be yourself, you know? I think that book it has just a great, I mean, obviously it's about a journey, but it's a great journey, and there's tons of like life lessons in there. So yeah, books.
I think we've done that book 4 or 5 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What was your takeaway from the book besides the journey? Because it's about kind of enjoying the journey and letting the journey happen.
I think, I mean, not to literally just take what you just said, but I think when you're that young, and I went from like being in college, and I found the entertainment business in a very fast and weird way, and I wasn't in my entertainment wasn't in my life system like at all. I was sports. All that to say, I found myself when I graduated college in South Carolina just moving to New York. That was my next step, which if you like took a snapshot of my life before I went to New York, no indication of going to New York, 0. And so I found myself in New York not being on a journey that I wasn't even expecting to be on, you know? So reading that book about like a journey and just the things that you can garner throughout the journey was what I needed at the time to sort of like
let go a little.
Yeah, to let go and
kind of trust the process.
Yes, which I battle to this day still.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's so hard,
especially if you're driven, because you want to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest clash, right? Where it's like the idea of like hustle, grind, work hard is for me anyways, it's like an aggressive feeling. Like it's a control thing. It's like, I'm going to wake up 6 in the morning, and that energy is feeling like I'm going to control everything. And that's sort of the opposite of not opposite of how you make it, but like the opposite of letting go. And once you understand the idea of letting go, you just become 10x better version of yourself, which is some of the inner excellence book. But yeah, very, very perfectionism, very driven, very like type A, control everything type of person. And it's good in a lot of ways, but down the road of the journey, like you need to learn how to like just to exactly what you said, just to like let go.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson that's like so hard for me.
The Alchemist was an interesting one for me in the sense that, when you're reading a book, you relate to the hero in the book, right? So I'm relating to the kid, and you see yourself in the kid. But once the Alchemist comes in, there's the line in there where the kid asks the Alchemist, like, how are you the alchemist? And he goes, I am because I said I am. Like, I'm the alchemist because I've decided I am. I didn't get knighted.
Yeah.
I didn't get a degree at Harvard.
Yeah.
Like, I decided I'm gonna do this. And just the work that it takes to be an alchemist, of spending all this time over heat and fire and singeing your fingers, and like just the dedication to it. Maybe for the first time in a book, I was like, oh no, now I related to the alchemist.
Yeah.
Because for a big part of my career, I would go in and fix car dealerships.
Yeah.
And you're the alchemist. Like, nobody believes it's possible. And the thing that's magical about alchemy is the alchemist sees the lead as high value when nobody else does. Mm-hmm. Everybody else thinks lead is disposable. It's a cheap metal. And the alchemist is like, no, I can show you that's gold. And like, you see people and their potential is gold when they don't see it themselves. Mm-hmm. Or you see a business that's losing money, and it's like, oh no, we're going to do these changes, and this is beautiful. Like, we just got to change a few things and you're gold. Like, we just got to go through this process. We got to break it down, and take it to its lowest common denominator and rebuild it as something beautiful. And to be the only one that believes that in a scenario is crazy, because nobody believes it in the beginning. Everybody doubts you.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in that, right? When you walk into a place and no one else sees you, everyone calm down, I got it. There's a lot of like unique power. Can you do that for yourself?
In what sense?
Like, in a sense of, you said to yourself, right, at some points you were like down and out, and that was, to use the metaphor, right, you were like the car dealership that had cobwebs and not selling, right, at that moment. Did you find yourself sort of coming out of that bad car dealership and to be the alchemist on yourself? Like, do you have the ability to do it to yourself is I guess the overarching question I'm trying to ask.
I think the thing that happens as we get older is we figure out where we add the most value, and we kind of become experts at that. And I think one of the secrets is to stay in the place that you know you can succeed. And that's where the alchemy is, right? Like, the alchemist isn't going, hey, I can turn lead into gold, so now I'm going to go figure out how to train dolphins.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of learn over time through trial and error. And through, the great thing about The Alchemist, the book, is in the journey, you learn about yourself. Mm-hmm. And so when you start to learn about yourself and you figure out what you're good at and where your lane is, then I think as you get older, the thing is to say no to the shiny thing.
Yeah.
And say yes to the thing where you can provide others the most value.
100%.
And then it's really about others, which this book,
I know,
really has some, we'll get to them, but yeah. It's not about,
I know,
you feel the most alive and the most fulfilled when you're providing value to others, not focusing on yourself.
I know. And that was and we'll get into it, but that was one of the most profound pieces of that book that really made my brain melt, where I was like, oh shit, yeah, like, of course it's the idea of, it's not about you. And that, like, I'm a comic, right? So it's like, it seems on face value the most narcissistic, like, self-indulgent, masturbatory art form that there is. It's like, I have a microphone, here's 2,000 people, everyone shut up and watch me work, and you laugh when I stop talking. It seems like it's, so the idea of trying to find value that's not self-serving is, of course, the answer. Of course, like, yeah. to become a better version of that artist, it's not to serve yourself. It's to, and I started to do that. I started to literally, before I go out, like, I'm in the theater, I'm in the green room, and I'm meditating. And the idea of, this is not about you. This is about creating positive energy in this room, making those people feel better, and what they're going to take from this show. Because if there's parents that had a bad week and they had a fight with their kid and they're not feeling great, the job sucks or whatever, and money's bad, and they're sitting in the thing, and you give them this hour and a half of, like, joy, and you really, like, change people's energy, right? And they take that and they go off and they have an amazing talk with their kid. And that talk is the thing that, you know, creates positive energy for that kid to do whatever in school, or whatever the ping pong effect is, the butterfly effect of that is. It's such a powerful thing. And if I think about, and I try to think about that before I go out with this, is it's not about me crushing and me feeling great and me getting money and me getting more followers. If I go on the stage and I go, this is about you guys. Like, what I'm trying to do here is alchemy, right? I'm trying to make you guys Leave here.
The energy is lead.
Correct.
And you're turning the energy into gold.
100%.
And you're raising self-esteem in the process.
100%.
There's this great clip going around with Mick Jagger. Have you seen it?
No, but.
So somebody's asking him about Bruce Springsteen and politics.
Okay.
And Mick's like, listen, like my job, like whatever he says, but basically it's like my job is to change exactly what you're saying. It's to entertain them.
Right.
And like, if you just think about it from his point of view, like how many times do you think he wants to play Start Me Up Again? Like it's not about him.
Right.
Like he's sick of that. He's sick of all of those songs.
Yes.
But it's not about him.
Right.
It's about, he's not there to lecture people.
Right.
He's not there to highlight the inconsistencies in the world or the confusion or whatever. He's there for people to have an incredible time and to leave there feeling better than when he got him.
Yeah.
That's his job. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like you think about these comedians on late night, like Colbert and whatever. It's like, you guys lost it. Like Johnny Carson understood what the job was. The job was you tune in before you fall asleep and you're gonna laugh. You're gonna see real movie stars, real stars. Like it's a highlight. It's like, it's almost inspirational. Like you want to aspire to what's happening there. It's not a lecture about politics. It's not one lane. It's culture. You know, Johnny was like, it was the culture of the country at the time.
Right.
And now it's like, you already know what they're going to say. It's not funny.
No.
No matter what side of the political thing you fall on, it's just like, okay, I get it. What's his name talks about that. There's a great interview with, what's the writer for Saturday Night Live that's like the icon that wrote for Norm?
Wrote for Norm?
But he talks about clapperism or something as a name for it.
Of course, yeah.
And it's like, that's the easy thing. Clapter.
Yeah.
That's the easy thing. And he's like, we weren't going to do that. We were going to do the hard thing.
Yeah.
We were going to put in the work. And the hard thing is serving the audience. You're paying, hey, we're going to respect the fact that you gave us this time.
Yeah.
And we're going to really work at whatever it is we're going to do. We're not going to mail it in. We're not going to take the easy path.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, like, you know, I don't even know if we're going to get on this topic, but like, if you're a comic, and we'll just talk about comics, it's the only thing I really know, right? If you're a type of comic that is a political comic, whatever side you're on, and that's how your brand is, and people are coming to hear your takes on X, hear your takes on Y, then there is no negativity on that. Like the audience knows what they signed up for. And I think that's what you were saying, maybe, where it's like, maybe the audience didn't know they were signing up for that on the late night stuff. Maybe the audience wants to come to have for escapism, and you're ramming what they're trying to escape from, you're ramming that down their throat. And maybe some people do, maybe some people don't. But the idea, but just specifically for me, it's like people aren't coming to my shows to, this sounds mean, but I seem mean to myself. I don't mean it to come off like that. I don't care. I know my brand, right? It's like people are coming not to like hear my takes on, it's like people are coming for silliness and to escape whatever they're trying to escape from in their life. And like, I take that real seriously. Like I try not to talk about, like, you know, I'll talk about life and death and some, you know, I'll be on the line about some stuff, but like my first special is called Silly Goose. Like I'm a silly person. So for them to come and hear takes, I just don't think they're there for that, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
And you kind of got to give a piece of yourself too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a vulnerability in that.
Yes.
You're giving the audience a part of you that, you know, they wouldn't normally get in a casual conversation.
100%. And I think that's the trick in what I'm trying to do, which is like, it's encased in silliness, but there is depth in it. And
there's a little truth in everything.
Yes. Yes. There's a little like, and maybe you learn a few things about me, or my favorite thing, which is like, I'll be the one to say something that might be construed as embarrassing, and it will give them power to be like, oh, Michael said it. This is how I feel is less embarrassing. Like on stage, I'll say whatever. Like the craziest stuff that's happening to me in my life, the weirdest kinks I have, or the weirdest situation, or whatever it is. Because one, I think it's funny. Two, I don't care. But three, I do think at some level it empowers people to be like, oh, like this, it's not that embarrassing. I don't have to feel bad about feeling this way about X, or because I'm attracted to X, or whatever. And I take that part of it pretty serious. I think I don't take most things seriously, but I do want my audience to leave, if I'm talking about something like that, to leave being like, okay, I can be less embarrassed about this, because I think people walk around feeling ashamed about a lot of stuff, which they don't have to. And I think if
it's great if you can make them laugh at it.
Correct. A lot of it is socially, whatever, I guess, not funny, but everything is funny. Like everything
in the right hands.
Correct. 100%. In the right hands, everything.
And it's careful. Like it's well done.
Yes. But I mean, I have a whole thing about like I have like probably a 6-minute bit about depression, and there's some like suicidal stuff in there, whatever. And it's handled with care, and it's always encased in silly and blah blah blah. But I sometimes I do say that type of stuff, and in the meet and greets, people will be like, man, thank you, I feel seen type stuff. And like that's super important to me as well. It's sort of the same thing as that embarrassment thing, where it's like it makes them just feel less shameful to have
less alone.
Less alone. Thank you.
The fact that you're brave enough to talk about it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm not the only, because the worst thing is if you feel you're the only one.
Dude, yes. That is. And I'm sure you felt like that in your life. I've definitely felt like that in my life, where I'm like, I'm the only person in the world that feels like this, and I'm so alone. And it exponentially makes it so, that feeling so much worse, because you're like, I'm a weirdo, I am alone. And if you have someone that you might follow on Instagram or whatever, or listen to the podcast, and that person says it, you go, oh no, it like takes the power away from that feeling a little bit, which is
Alchemy.
Which is awesome. That's Alchemy, yeah.
Raising self-esteem.
Exactly. Maybe we should have done The Alchemist. Fuck this book.
No, it's been done. Just one more funny one that I think that is so taboo is, have you heard Louis C.K.'s one on abortion?
Yeah.
Where he's like, yeah, it's your body, but it's murder. And then you really, by the end of it, you don't know which side he's on, because he's made fun of both sides.
Yeah. Dude, the best line in that bit, and maybe I think we're talking about the same bit, where he goes, it was Roe v. Wade, and he goes, the woman was Roe, and I guess Wade was the baby. Dude, I fell all, and I look at comedy like math, like, you know what I mean? I don't really laugh, not to be like, I don't laugh at comedy, but it's like I'm around it all the time. So nothing.
It's like somebody who shoots movies watches a movie. They're thinking about the lens and the angle.
Dude, thank you. 100%. They're like, oh, this color is.
They're the worst person to watch a movie with, because they won't shut up.
Yeah. They're like, I would go to a 70 on this. Like, dude, I don't care. But whatever. So I don't really. But when he said that line, I think I was listening on my phone. I put my phone, I was dying laughing in my kitchen by myself off that one line. It's also like this, it's funny because I laugh, and also I'm pissed because I'm so jealous. Because I'm like, that line is so good.
It's high art. It's good.
Yeah, it's so good.
That it's your body thing, but it's murder.
Yeah. Like, it's your body. Yeah. Dude,
it's so funny.
He's so good.
Where did you grow up?
Maryland.
Were you funny as a kid?
Yeah, I was the class clown, crazy guy throwing markers at teachers and just trying to make people.
You threw a marker at a teacher?
Oh yeah.
Did you see the vice principal a lot?
Oh, detention.
Did you get spanked?
Never spanked.
I went to a school you got spanked.
Oh, you went? No, I didn't. I had markers thrown at me. I had rulers thrown, but never spanked. But in the disciplinarian's office, I mean, I would probably average at least 1.5 times a week. Like my mom.
You had your own section.
Yeah.
In the VP's office. Was it the vice principal?
When I was in elementary school, I went to the actual principal's office. And then when I was in high school, we had like a disciplinarian. So that
was a job.
It was a job, dude. And he was the scariest. He was like he's a family friend, beautiful soul. He was a cross country and track coach, and my sister and my brother were like incredible athletes for track and cross country. So he was around our family a ton. An incredible human being, but so scary. Like, dude, 6'1", shaved head, and just like a Marine type of feeling. And so when you're 14, you're like, this is the scariest dude. And he had keys. Like, he had a bunch of keys.
Of course.
And so it was like, what was it? It was like Jaws. So I would be messing around or doing something crazy, and then you would hear the keys before you would see him. And it was that Jaws theme song where you're like, oh, dude. Yeah. Ching, ching, ching. There's one time my teacher kicked it. I don't even know what I did. Something dumb. But she kicked me out of the classroom, took my desk and put it in the classroom. And I was one in trouble, or no, we did demerits. I was one demerit away from getting pulled off the basketball team. And I was in that predicament, and then my teacher kicked me out, and I was on the desk, and I heard those keys because he was the one that could give me a demerit. Not the teacher probably could have, but whatever. But I heard those keys, and I was like, here we go, dude. This is
time just stops.
Stops. He walks over to me. He just last name, because my sister was 2 years older than me, so he'd always just call us by our last name. He's like, Blaustein, why are you out here? In my head, I was just like, here we go. Dude, my basketball coach is gonna kill me. It's over. Like, and basketball to me was like, that's the only reason to live. So it was like a massive, massive thing. And he didn't kick me off the team, but I couldn't travel for like 3 or 4 games. But it was like, if I think about it, I could probably make my heart start pounding. And again, sweet, sweet man when you're not in school. Like, when I got out of school in college, he was like, he would come to family parties, a really sweet guy. But then it was terrible. Just terrible.
Would he laugh at you at the family parties? Like,
oh, well, hold on. Was he laughing, you said?
Would he laugh at you?
Yeah, of course. But it was like once you're out of high school and I was in college coming to family parties, then it's like he can talk to me like a friend, you know? I remember I was in New York, some family party, and that's what he said to me. I remember the first thing he said to me, I was like, oh, this is like an actual human being. He was like, oh, you're in New York, dude. A lot of models probably. And he was like talking about women to me, and I'm like, what's happening? Where are your keys? I like the keys more. I don't like this guy.
What'd you go to college for?
I actually went for, this sounds kind of hilarious because it is, but I went for golf. So there's this thing.
You can get a degree in golf?
Yeah. There's this thing. There's 8 schools had it when I went. There's probably more now. It's called the PGM program, where it's a double major. You major in golf and you major in marketing. And so the PGA has like 3 levels of books. It sounds like it would be easy. It's super intensive. Like golf, like the game of golf is, they're lunatics about it. And it's not
mental.
It's mental, but there's so much history that people are like really serious about it. So there's like 3 massive level of books. You have to learn about landscape and design. You have to learn about all the way grass grows, this bush and that bush, and the way this sand would work in this condition and this, like, it's wild. And I made it through like 2 years. And I remember one class, I was like looking around at everyone in my class, and I was like, who are these people? Because I wanted to be like a head pro. And I was like, these people are not my people. And so I dropped it, and I'm just majored in marketing.
Well, the marketing probably helps you now. A little bit.
People say that, and maybe I absorb stuff subconsciously that I don't know that I have, that I learned from there. But like, I don't ever be like, oh, I gotta post an Instagram reel. I remember that thing I learned in college. Like, but probably, I think maybe what I learned the most from college is like the structure. Like I'm on my own. So if I don't study for this test, I get an F. So it's like learning how to like conduct yourself and still drink until you vomit on your own penis. Like you have to learn how to do it. But I don't know.
What did your parents do?
My mom is a nurse, a hospice nurse, which is obviously a crazy unique job. And my dad was in tech. They're both retired.
And where are you in the hierarchy with your siblings?
I have an older sister and a younger brother. So
middle?
Yeah. And I conducted myself very much like a middle kid. Just in trouble all the time, screaming for attention. Someone please look at me. my whole life. And now that's exactly what I'm doing now.
You made a career out of it.
Literally made a career out of it. Yeah, it's so crazy.
So I think that there's two things in life that are like the hardest. One is boxing.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Yes.
And then the second one, or they could be tied for first. It doesn't have to be one's harder, but it's stand-up. It's just you.
Yeah.
You have unless you're Carrot Top or something, you have nothing to hide behind.
No.
It's like, okay, make me laugh.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild when it's going well. Like, it's one of those things that only comics can understand. Like, when you are crushing, it's this feeling that you can't even describe. But when you are doing bad, it's a feeling you cannot describe. It is the lowest of low feeling. Your heart is beating out of your chest. You're sweating. You can't remember your next line. There's 30 people just looking at you like you're an idiot. It is the highest highs and lowest lows ever. And to your earlier point, you are by yourself. So it's like when they don't laugh, like they don't like you, which is crazy. It's crazy.
Personal.
It's a very personal. And it's so personal too, because it's like you've been working on this stuff. So like,
you're not trying to piss them off.
Correct.
You're not like, I didn't get up here.
Yeah, I didn't get up here to bomb.
Well, yeah.
I get up here to
I didn't come all the way to Pocatello, Idaho to piss everybody off. Dude, and get ran out of town.
Yeah. And it's an art form. I mean, I'm sure just like every other art form, it just takes so long to get good at. Like, so long. And every level you think you got it, and then you realize you don't got it. It's like when you're 2 years in, you're like, oh, I'm good. And then you're so not. And then you're 7 years in, you're like, I'm good. And you're so not. And then 10 years, same thing, 15, same. And it's just like a constant, you're never good, which is, I always think about golf because it's the same thing. Like, you're never good. Like, you can think you're good, you can get more consistent, but like, there's always going to be inclement weather when you're playing golf that's going to mess the spin of the ball up, and you have to realize what that is. And then someone yells out something in the crowd and your backswing, you got to figure what that is. And the more years you're on the tour, the more times you encounter that stuff, and the more times and then you learn how to deal with that stuff. It's just like stand-up. It's like, you can have like a 30 minutes that works really well. Okay, well, does it work in Arkansas when no one's paying attention and everyone's pissed at a casino because they just lost $2,000 and their wife's going to divorce them? Can you make that person laugh with this? Probably not. And you just have to like do bad so many times that you get good at doing bad, which sounds weird, but it's just like it's just reps.
Yeah.
But that's why it just takes so long.
The magic is in the pain.
Oh, the pain. And I'm a perfectionist. We can get to the book if you want. And I'm a perfectionist. So when I don't do well, it's not like, oh, shucks, my life caves in. Like, I am worth nothing, like less than nothing. And so being that type of person, encountering all these like losses was so challenging, and still is challenging. I don't know if you're a perfectionist, but it's like, it's awful.
Oh yeah. You don't get a lot done.
No.
You get paralyzed.
Yeah.
There's that documentary that I don't think it's that well known actually, that Seinfeld did, and I think it's just called Comedian.
Yeah, Comedian, yeah.
Where he just films himself going around putting together an act. And there's a couple of takeaways. So I'd encourage everybody to watch it. Somebody told me to watch it when I was trying to figure out how to do keynotes. And I was like, how do I get good at doing keynotes? And this guy who made his living doing keynotes is like, watch that, because it isn't about getting good.
Correct.
It's about the Alchemist. It's the journey.
Yeah.
You're gonna suck or whatever. But it's interesting because like he talks about it in there, like, yeah, I'm Seinfeld, but that only lasts for like 90 seconds. And then if I'm not funny, they're pissed. Like,
they're pissed.
And then he runs into Bill Cosby in that, and Bill Cosby's just funny. Yeah. And he's like working on this hour for like a year, and Cosby just goes up there and wings it. And that kind of envy he has for what Cosby has is so interesting, because Seinfeld's putting in the work.
Yep.
And then it just seems like Cosby can do it in his sleep.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting that there's just people like that.
There are, yeah. And that comparison thing is death.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, and we all do it as artists and even as people, but it's like there's certain people that are just operate differently than you. They're not you. So to be like, oh, I wish I was X, it's like your energy's not that. You weren't raised, you don't have the right, you weren't raised in their family. You don't have the perspectives, you don't have the filter that they had to be able to like manifest that type of act or whatever. But yeah, as a young comic, you're always looking at people like, I wish I was that, I wish I was that, I wish I was that. But yeah, I remember that part when Seinfeld was just like, oh man. And it's crazy to look at Seinfeld having envy for someone else. You're like, what? But it's also this weird thing where you go, it's also comforting, but it also, when you're a young comic, you're like, dude, if Seinfeld is jealous, this life is horrible. Yeah. Because there is, I remember I saw.
It's funny too, Cosby and him both had TV shows. Like there's a lot of similarities in that moment if you think about it.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? Oh, I was talking, do you know the comic Bobby Lee? Mm-hmm. I mean, super fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like
hot mess.
Hot mess, but insanely nice and super, super funny.
A lot of people hate him.
Really?
I think so.
Oh. All love. I love this guy. But what I was going to say is he was on our podcast and Stiff Socks every Wednesday. But we were asking him about the idea of like, do you ever get sort of, he's obviously very famous, right? So do you ever get past this whole like just anxiety that everything's going to go to zero and blah, blah, blah. And he goes quickly, he's like, no, it's always here. And there's two ways to look at it. It might be a comforting thought to be like, all right, cool. Everyone feels like this. It's all good. Or how I took it, which is like, fuck, dude, are you kidding me? This anxiety that everything's going to go to zero, it doesn't matter what height you get to in your career, it's just never going to go away. And that's part of the reason why I found this book where I'm like, I got to get another perspective because this is not sustainable.
I would contend there's another side to that.
Please.
So have you ever watched any of the stuff on like Jordan or Larry Bird where they're like, you know, there's some guy on the other team and he's like, oh, I just had a son. And they're like, oh, what'd you name your son? Zach. And it was like, you didn't name your son after me? And then they score 50 points on him. And that, like, they manufacture a reason to be pissed off. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Kobe did it. Like, a lot of, and you find that, or I find that a lot in different areas of people that literally manufacture that fear because they're so comfortable. They've made it.
Yeah.
And they have to manufacture that fear to get them to keep going.
Yeah, I think my first feeling on that, right, is like, it just depends on who you are, right? There's a lot of people like that, like Jordan, that Kobe thing. I don't really know a ton about Larry Bird, but that Jordan Kobe thing where
it's the same disease.
The same thing. Yeah. Where they would like manufacture anger. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, oh, you didn't, and then get angry and they perform better angry. Right.
The best is when the people on the other side don't even know why they're angry. They're just like, why is he killing me?
You know what I'm saying? It's so funny. But there are people who operate great like that. I don't operate great mad. I don't operate great depressed. I don't operate great with anxiety. I need like peace. I create the best when I feel good and I am at peace. And anytime where I'm like, I gotta write the new hour, it's fucking awful. It feels so forced. It's all blech. It's not from the heart. It's gross. And when I sit down and I'm in a good mood, it happened literally last night. I had a great sat down. I'm like, let me just poke at this. Let me see. And then all of a sudden I'm off on this 5-minute tangent about something else that I was thinking about that's in the back of and it's just this flow state. But I can't operate like that. So when Bobby said it to me, that anxiety never goes away, I was like, well, I can't operate well with anxiety. So I got to find another thing. And there are comics who operate great, and artists in general operate great mad, operate great drunk, operate great depressed. I mean, we could probably
heroin.
Heroin, which is a whole nother thing, dude. Like, how do you do heroin and then just do jazz? And not even like just do jazz, like just be the best at jazz.
Yeah.
When you don't even know what day it is. Like if I have one shot, I would leave Like, you know what I mean? I can't, like, liquor or anything just really fucks me up. So it's like really interesting how people can ingest that type of stuff and be like the best and whatever. But anyways, back to my point, the anxiety thing is like, I don't operate great like that. So I need to find an anecdote for this because I want to be in this business for the next 30 years, 40 years. So that's why I started like searching for.
What have you found?
I found like ish what we talked about whatever minutes ago, which is like, it's not about me. And if I
You're making it about them.
Yes. If I make it about them, then there is no win, there is no loss. And that's because of my perfectionism. It's so real to me. Like I talk to my therapy all the time where I'm like, I love basketball, so I put everything into basketball terms. I go, the anxiety almost has ramped up because I've gotten better and more successful. Because now it's like, oh, I can score 45 points a game. So when I score 30 points a game, my body reacts like I scored 0 points. And that's the most not sustainable thing of all time. Because I'm on stage all the time. I'm doing podcasts all the time. So if I'm like, oh, I did an A- and I want to blow my head off, like I got to figure that out. And I think the anecdote, and when I really dial it in, is it's not about me. Like, did I do the best I could in that moment? And that's all that I can control. And if the outcome of that is that the audience had a great time because that's what it's about, then I'm great. Then I'm not, oh, did I score 30 points or did I score 45 points? It's like, did I do the best I could? And I like to add, did I have fun? Because when I have fun, the outcome becomes the objective is not the outcome for me. Because if I can run around and have fun on stage, that equals the audience having fun and I did my job and I'm very happy. But the issue is like when I don't have fun. So if I can lower my anxiety by having fun and making it about the audience and what I am, my purpose, which is to like, it sounds kind of corny, but my purpose is like to bring joy, right? Like that's my purpose. So if I can bring joy and that's the only thing I can focus on, then I'm good. Can I do that every time? No. 2 weeks ago, I was like lying on the ground in my office being like, I'm the worst comedian in the world. And it was because I literally had like an A- set and I really wanted this thing to work and it didn't. And that's exactly what I just said 8 seconds ago that it can't be about, but it's hard for me to do it every time because my like ego just gets so involved. Yeah.
That sort of thing fascinates me in many ways because I'm going to liken it to something else.
Yeah.
So like, have you ever had a friend, maybe the friend is female and they're very giving in relationships and they get taken advantage of all the time?
Sure.
So, you know, you can give to the other person, but there is a point where you're giving too much and you're not taking care of yourself. And I think in our society, like especially books, like it's self-help books, it's always like one that is very fascinating to me is this whole idea of servant leadership. Like,
okay.
Like I'm a servant leader. I'm a leader, but I serve my people or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, that only goes so far.
Right.
So you got to tell people the truth. And sometimes you got to fire people.
Right.
And sometimes you got to, you know, if you're a basketball coach, sometimes you got to yell to get their attention. If that's the group they are, you know, some people function good with encouragement. Some people need to be taken to the edge.
100%.
And you gotta know where that is. And you know, it's like, and so there's this kind of funny thing that we want it to be one or the other. And it's actually a balance of having boundaries. Yeah. Like knowing the kind of person, if you're that girl, knowing the kind of person that's the right person for you, that isn't going to take everything from you, that's going to give back. You got to have a boundary. Yeah. And then you're able to trust and give. But the first time you get your heart broken, then usually their response is, oh, I just get taken advantage of. I care too much. And it's like this whole pity thing. Right. And it's like, there's a there's an axiom there. There's a balance that you kind of have to find with anything. Is it's like you want to serve, but you also are the alchemist, and you know when and what should happen. So like, I'm sure as a comedian, there's certain things you want in, on stage or the lights, or, there's just, you're a host, you're hosting something, and you want to create the environment. You want to be introduced a certain way, like when I'm doing a keynote, I don't want to go on after lunch.
Right.
I'd rather be the guy going into lunch or the guy that ends it, but I don't want to be the guy going after lunch, or I also don't want to be the first one.
Right.
8:30 when everybody's running in the room, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
And so there's also a thing that you learn over time of, being the shepherd, being the one that also is controlling different aspects of it for the outcome to happen, which takes courage.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like with comedy or any type of art, it's like the old adage, right? It's like control what you can control, and it sounds corny and it sounds like, of course, why wouldn't you, whatever. But if you try to do that on a day-to-day basis, and I try, but I don't, it's, I'm not 100% from the field, like that would really, as an artist, that changes your life, because you can't control the audience. You try, you'd like to, but you don't, like, that's the outcome from the laugh, right? But control you control, right? So it's like it's the alchemist, it's the journey, right? So it's like, what's the most fun that I have doing comedy? It's like performing for sure. But one of the most fun things is having a bit just dropped in my lap, or having a joke just come in my head for no reason. Some angel, how I don't even know how you think creativity happens, but it's a wild how it happens. But like, so that's what I can control. I can control, like, on a day-to-day basis, being like, I want to create fun art. Right. So it's like I can write every day, and not write like this is going to be the best bit ever. Right. Just like I just like creating. And then so you can control that. You can control learning the bit. You can control like working different levels of it. And then once you get on stage, then it just kind of becomes a non-outcome thing. It becomes about giving, and my joy is having you guys escape. But so you're right. I guess I'm trying to say you're right, where it's like, there is like, it's not just, it's all about them and goodbye, because you have to bring a piece of art to them. So there is that boundary you're talking about, right? Because it's like the art that I create is sort of the boundary. It's like,
well, you're not going to go in front of a bunch of, I mean, maybe you would, but just for an example, you're not going to go to a retirement home and do comedy, or to a kindergarten or whatever, although that might be funny.
I've done many cruise ships, and they were all 70 and above.
Yeah, so that might not be, you might learn over time that's not the place to do it. I would add too to the creativity thing is you also control the things that you watch that inspire you, the people that are around you, the environment that you're in, right? Because like when I'm creative, I create an environment that feeds to that's creative. So the stuff I have around me, just the books, the art, the people that I'm attracted to are all creative. And then those sort of people are less judgmental. People that are creative are more exploratory. They're curious about stuff. They're not super negative about anything. They just want to understand, and they'll talk about, whatever, because they want to learn. You can learn about comedy from all kinds of different places. It isn't, just singular in a silo.
Oh yeah. The context in which you can create is just, I mean, it's so important. Like, it's like, I've lived in LA about 8 years now, and I lived in New York for like 8-9 years, something like that. And my ability to create, this is not a high level thought at all, everyone says this, but my ability to create in New York is astronomically more than my ability to create here. And it's a product of my own doing sometimes, because I'm on the road all the time. So when I'm home, I just want to be home, dude. I don't want to go out. I don't want to go to a coffee shop. I just want to be home and work out and try to write at the house. But when I'm visiting New York, or when I lived in New York, like, if I want a sandwich or a coffee or whatever I want, like, I gotta go get it. and it's just a zoo. And ideas and energy and just like general creativity slaps me in the face every moment of every time I'm there. And so the context in which you create is so important. You were talking about people around you and like all that kind of stuff is so important.
It's like there's nothing like New York.
No.
It's the greatest. It's funny. I was in the Midwest a couple of weeks ago, and right now the Midwest is like blowing up. Like factories are going up, buildings are going up.
Where were you?
In Indiana, in Indy, basically.
Indiana? Yeah.
There's just like buildings going up. There's this energy. There's this very positive thing. People have like it's just it's growing, and companies from California, from New York are moving to the Midwest and opening factories and all that. And when I got off the plane in LA, I was like, oh,
I know.
This is people hate themselves here. Like it's just weird. It's so self-loathing.
Yeah.
I was like, like I never thought I'd want to go back to the Midwest because I love LA.
I know.
New York is by far the best city for just about anything. I mean, it's New York.
That's the same thing happened to me. I was in Charlotte of all places, which is a great city. It's like it's oddly one of my favorite comedy cities. But I had the same exact feeling where I was in Charlotte for like 6 days or whatever, and talk about a booming city. Like major tech is happening. They're starting to shoot film there and TV. It's like it's a whole industry, right? And it's in this like cool, energetic phase. And then I come back here and I have the same feeling where I'm like, ugh, dude, everybody is just in a bubble. Nobody says hello. I woke up this morning, it's like went on a hike with my dog 6 a.m. I swear to God, I was in Runyon. 0 people said hello. 0 people even looked at me.
Yeah, it's weird. It didn't used to be like that.
It's so weird.
It was friendly here. Like LA was, the people from New York would come here and they'd be like, does everybody have to like ask me how I'm doing? Like, and dude, yeah, it's weird.
In my own building, I lived in that building for 3 years. I swear to God, I think I've had 19 people in 3 years say hello to me. And sometimes I'm closed off and I'm not in the mood, whatever. But it's just like coming from Charlotte where everyone's just like, hey, how are you? Hi. Just everyone's so nice. There's just a different, and I wrote a ton that weekend because the sun was out, the birds were going, there was just energy. And when I came back here, I was just like, why do I feel bad?
Yeah, there's an energy here that's not good.
No.
Yeah.
And you said it wasn't always like this?
No.
How long have you been here for?
LA used to be super creative. Like it used to, I've been here for 25 years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, when I came back, I asked my accountant, I had my like meeting with him, like my annual meeting, and I was like, hey, if I took a loss on these buildings I own here and moved, like, and he's like, oh, give it 5 years, it'll come back. Like, I don't know if I can wait 5 years. I kind of like, there's just a weird thing here where people hate the country, they hate themselves, like, and it's like, at the end of the day, like, we're just humans, like, I'm way more interested in you as a human versus your politics.
Yeah.
Like your politics are very small in the makeup of, I'd rather talk about your dog.
100%. But see, I think this is the overall point, right? It's like, and again, I do it to myself. It's like, I am so isolated. Like I will go, I think last night, I got on stage at like 8 o'clock and I said it, I go, this is the first time that I spoke out loud to humans. I had meetings, whatever, some Zooms, but like I've seen people, and it's like I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
dude, I get
this thing right here,
dude, that thing, DoorDash, Oop, no one talks to you, and you get food brought to you. I DoorDash an iPad. You can't go to Best Buy, you lazy and just go get, but the thought of me going to Best Buy was crazy. Oh, I got to park, dude, and then I got to talk to someone. I got to find out where the iPads are.
Well, and the iPad's probably behind a case.
That's what I'm saying, dude. The CVS thing, I don't go to CVS anymore.
No. Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, AI's going to win.
How did this book come into your life?
Into my life. I was feeling everything that we talked about the perfectionism and really just trying to figure it out in in therapy, and it just wasn't getting better. I was like, dude, I am on stage all the time, and I can't roll. I call it rolling the dice, because it's either I feel awesome or I feel less than zero. And not like, ha ha ha, less than zero. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to go back to Maryland, and I'm doing good. And I still feel like that, like not okay. And I was like, I have to get this under control, because one, this is not normal. Two, like, I can't just roll the dice every night. Like, I got to a point, I don't even think I told anyone this. I got to a point where I was saying no to shows because I was like, I don't want to roll the dice. Like, complete and utter, just dripping with fear that I was saying no to shows that I shouldn't have. The shows were fun. It's sold out, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't want to do it. I was like getting anxiety about I'm scared. I was scared of myself. Like, people are like, oh, you must be scared of the audience. It's like, dude, I don't give a shit about the audience. I'm scared of me after a show. Like, I will uppercut myself in the corner for hours and hours. Like, it's awful. And it's been like this since I was a kid. And I was like, I need to find some help. And my buddy, same thing with the universe is so weird. My buddy, like, the next day that I was having these thoughts, he just sent me a podcast and was like, hey man, you gotta check this podcast. I was like, everything you feel, I feel like is in this podcast. And it was the Rich Roll pod, and Jim Murphy, the author of Inner Excellence, the book we're about to talk about, was talking on the Rich Roll podcast. And it was wild, dude. Everything he was saying, I was like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. And I was like, all right. I listened to the podcast and I ordered the book immediately. And yeah, that's how I found it.
So for the audience, if they haven't read the book, just kind of explain the overall lesson.
I mean, there's a ton in there, but I think the overall lesson is this journey is just, it's sort of what we've been saying, right? This journey is not about you. And once you can remove the ego and find a purpose, like a higher purpose of what you're doing, that's when you can perform the best. Like, you're seeking perfectionism, you're seeking the next level of a performance. And the only way to do that is to do the opposite of what I've been doing my entire life, which is I call like squeezing the bat too hard. Like, oh, I'm gonna hit a home run, I'm gonna hit a home run. Like, it's the opposite of that. It's moving yourself out of the way, finding a higher purpose, and not even like, it sounds like we're talking about God. I'm not even talking about that. Like, just finding a purpose that is way bigger than you.
What is inner excellence?
What is inner excellence? I mean, I hate to just like repeat what I just said, but I mean, I think that's kind of what it is, right? It's like the inner excellence is removing the ego piece of you that is in the way, and that's where you find
the purest form.
It's like all like that fear that, because Jim Murphy, he's a sports psychologist and more than that, but that's how he got his like start. And all these players that are like, he has an example in here about a PGA professional, I forget which one, that it's not about like making the putt. It's about putting the best that you can. I'm paraphrasing here, but like that's the idea. And again, it sounds so simple, but if you can actually harness what that means, then you'll make the putt. Because it's not about making a putt. It's about having fun, about trying to learn how to make that putt. And then you'll be so free of the responsibility to make the putt and be free about the outcome of making it. And
yeah,
that was
he talks about kind of the curse of chasing wins in a way.
Yes. Yeah. And that's all I've done my whole life. That's it. And it's, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, like I walked away from my 7th grade party because I lost at bowling. I left my own party because I didn't win. And that is like, that's encapsulates my life up until now. Like I can't lose.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the first tab here. So he starts off, he says, as you read this book and examine your heart, what you'll find is that your greatest dream is not realized in having millions of dollars or perhaps a house overlooking the ocean. Your dream is how you think these things will make you feel.
Your dream is how you think these things will, yes. Yeah, because this is the old thing that everyone thinks, right? It's like Jim Carrey said that. It's like, I wish everyone could accomplish their dreams to realize that it's not what you want. And this is exactly what he's saying. It's like you think that having millions of dollars and having a house is going to cure everything, but if you don't work on yourself, you're still you in the house with the millions of dollars. That's my big, I talk to my co-host Trevor Wallace all the time about this. It's our biggest fear. It's like being alone in a mansion is my biggest fear. And it's like, that's the ego times 10 in my head, where it's like, it's just about me. It's just about money. It's just about success. And then you know what that gets you? That gets you alone in a mansion.
Yeah.
And that is frightening.
So when you strip all this away, is the thing for you the connection with the audience? Is that really what is the most fulfilling?
Yeah, I think
it's not the stuff.
No, it's not the stuff. It's not the stuff. And it's, and I will admit to you 1,000,000 times, that it is very hard for me to strip away the stuff. Like, because I was downloaded like that. I was downloaded to be like, nice car, nice watch. That means that you are somebody. And you get it gets murky for me in my head, where I'm like, yes, I intellectually understand why it should be just about the audience and not, oh yeah, Michael, you wrote that joke and it's crushing and look how it, yeah, I'll take it. I'm gonna eat that up. It's not about that. It's about the audience experiencing this new idea, me trying my best, and the audience experiencing that idea and giving them love, right? Giving them love. That's what this is all about. And it's not about you give them love so the next time you come back to Minneapolis, there's going to be 10,000 people because all that love you gave them made them be like, oh, you should come to Michael Blaustein show. It's so good. It's not about getting bigger and the checks are getting bigger and now you can have a production company, whatever. But I will be the first one to tell you, that's super murky for me, and I'm still working daily to pull that away, because it's just hard for me to envision that. It's hard for me to envision like it being just about love. But to his Jim Murphy's point, it is. And the only way that you're going to get where you want to go is if it is about giving love. Yeah.
Then he opens up the book. So this is chapter 1. It's called Maslow and the Maserati, The Pursuit of More.
Mm-hmm.
If you want freedom, you might consider going into the wild. There's no mortgage, bills, or lawn to mow. If it's stability and security you're after, you might consider the 3 meals a day offered for you in the 4 walls of a prison. But if you want a different freedom, the freedom of life, of vision and courage, peace and joy, it's going to cost you. Real freedom is costly.
In order to be truly free, we must have the courage to confront certain disciplines, face our fears, and connect. I understand. So that freedom, it doesn't cost money. It costs like
work, vulnerability.
Yeah, stripping away self.
Making it about them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's those costs seem so worth it. But if you're downloaded in a specific way, it's just so challenging. It will be worth it. But as I'm reading these words, which now we're rereading these words, my first feeling is just like, in a stupid way, I go, sounds cool, but I'll never get there. That's my first like reaction to this, which is obviously not a positive one, but I completely understand what he's saying. And it's like, yeah, you just have to give up, not in a negative sense, but you have to give up self to be able to pay for freedom, the freedom that he's talking about, right? How does this make you like? Do you feel like you have this under control?
Well, I mean, there's kind of two parts to it in a way. Is one is the inner game of what you expect. Like there's been tons of studies on happiness and people write books on happiness, but the best description of happiness that resonates with me is this study that they did at London University. It was 20 years.
Okay.
And the thing that they figured out with happiness was that the only real kind of measurable in there was expectations. And you control your expectations. So if you think about every time you've been unhappy, it was because what you expected to happen didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a freedom in controlling your expectations, and there's a freedom in taking responsibility. Like most people don't take responsibility for themselves. So they don't take responsibility for their happiness, their environment, their success. They just go along with the flow. There's this thing in psychology called locus of control. Okay. Like people locate control internally or externally. 90% of people externally give away control. So you have a friend, can't find a girl, and they're like, oh, well, all the girls in LA are this. All the girls in Chicago are like, it's they're externalizing. Oh, the economy. Oh, my parents, my trauma. They're relinquishing control because they have learned they have helplessness. Like they don't feel like if they tried, it would matter.
Right.
And so they give it up. And so,
or if they try, it'll actually hurt.
Yeah.
Because if they actually try and they fail, that is when
that humiliation would
destroy
they couldn't.
Yeah.
Taking the chance is not worth it to them.
Right.
And so you have to develop an internal locus of control to understand that the actual things that you control have the biggest effect on your happiness in your life. You control your expectations. You control the energy you bring to something. You control the effort. You control who you surround yourself, what you say yes or. And when you start thinking that way, all of the variables go away.
Yeah.
There are variables. Of course, you could walk out and get hit by a car. There's a chance, but
Well, I'm not getting hit by a car. It's stolen.
Right.
Right.
Well, no, the car that they stole from you.
Well, yeah.
What if you got hit by your own car?
That's such a problem.
That's a bad day.
Talk about expectation.
So it's that, does that resonate? Like you control your expectations. So if you expect somebody to show up prepared and they didn't, you get upset. But why would you ever expect somebody to show up prepared? Like,
right.
Why would you expect somebody to do what they say they're going to do?
Yeah. And also that control thing, right? It's like, I sometimes I'm good at it. Sometimes mostly I'm bad at it, which is like, I react to other people. I let them control me, right? For a dumb example, if someone cuts me off in traffic, right? I have such a reaction to that where I'm not protecting my peace in this moment. I'm letting that person control me. And it's horrible. But to your point, it's like they're probably having a bad day or they don't care. But why am I letting them ruin my day? Like, dude, I've followed people in traffic and got off and yelling. It's like, I'm 5'8". What am I actually gonna do? You know? But it's like I'm so overwhelmed and yeah, I mean, it's like that is a piece
you expected them.
I expected them. That was my point. Yes,
but you control that expectation.
Correct.
And then I think the other part is just the freedom comes from the work, from the alchemy, like standing over a stove for 12 hours a day, trying to turn this lead into gold. Yeah. In the heat, burning your fingers.
Yeah. And finding the joy and fun in burning your fingers, which is,
and that's what buys you the house.
Yes.
It's not wanting the house that buys you the house.
Right.
And then the house, the next part here that I think is interesting. So on page 10 and 11, we won't read it because it's pretty long, but he just literally photocopies this David Foster Wallace piece. And basically what Wallace is kind of saying here is like the thing kind of becomes a prison, right? Like, then you will have enough. Never feel you have enough. It's the truth. Worship your own body and beauty and sexual allure, and you will always feel ugly. Like,
yeah.
It's that kind of dichotomy of the thing that you worship becomes the thing that controls you or owns you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if speaking like, dude, I worship doing well. Like, worship is a great word. I worship doing well. So then what happens with that? And that's what's controlling me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that passage of where is it? Worship your own body and beauty and sexual allure, and you will always feel ugly. That is Los Angeles. That's LA.
Yeah. And I mean, most of the people you meet here aren't super happy.
No. Like,
they're shaking your hand, looking past you to see who's more important in the room. And it's just a funny thing. Like,
I never, ever, and now we're just bashing LA the entire time, but I never, when I first came here, I came here for a TV show, and I was in some freaking stupid party, whatever. And someone on the cast was shaking my hand and looking over my head. And I literally was like, I've never experienced, that was the first time I ever experienced that. I was like, I literally go, yo, what? And nothing, just, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is what people are talking about. It's a wild sensation.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, in this moment, I don't matter at all. You're looking for it's like a bigger lily pad to jump on. You're just sort of talking to me right now because you don't want to be awkward not talking to anybody. It was such a weird feeling.
I thought this thing on 59,
yep.
I just wanted to kind of ask you is that he says you need to be unembarrassable to get to the point where no mistake or foolish words or actions can make you feel less of a person, make you want to run or hide. When you're embarrassed, it's simply concern for self. The more embarrassed you are, the more worried you are about your image. Humiliation is a mental construct. In comedy, like, the first time you got up, isn't that the battle? Like, isn't that the hardest part of comedy, is that very first time you stand up there?
Oh, yeah. But that becomes
the freedom, right?
But that becomes the entire battle. The entire battle of, like, if you allow yourself to have this moment, a joke doesn't land the way you want, right? And you're only 6 minutes in, you got 14 more minutes. Are you going to let that reaction from the audience or that non-reaction from the audience dictate the rest of your set? Yes, if you allow that moment for you to feel embarrassed. And that's what it is, right? It's like you did something, you're like, ba-dum-bum-bum, 0 laughs. And that first hit is embarrassment. And so the greatest sets that I've ever had where I am super loose and I'm just having fun. And so it becomes this person who can't be embarrassed. I'm not an embarrassable person. I'm gonna do this. You don't like it, doesn't really matter. We're doing. Hey, we're having a good time, and that every single time. And I started to lock this in my head, and it sounds simple, but it really works. I go, before I go on stage, I go, I'm gonna have fun, and if they don't want to have fun, that's okay. But I'm gonna have fun, and once I cue that in, you know who has fun? Everybody. And
it's contagious.
It's contagious. And
it's like herpes.
Yes, dude. We all got it. Raise your hand if you got it. Everyone's raised their hand.
1 in 3 people have it here.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah. But it is. That energy is contagious. Like,
yeah. And
you can't help but want to be a part of that when somebody else is having fun.
And part of that I'm gonna have fun is I can't be embarrassed. So if you guys don't like this idea, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is so powerful.
We all struggle with.
Yes.
Do you like how we tab this?
I loved how you tabbed this.
Okay, so this next one on 68. An accurate view of self is to realize that 90% of anything good in your life that you have or have done was given to you.
Oof.
You might say you're crazy. I've worked hard and never gave up and did this and that. But where did you get the mind and the energy to work so hard? You didn't choose the country you were born in, or the family, or coaches, or teachers, or genetics. What if you were born in Afghanistan during the Mongol invasion of the 1840 Ireland during the potato famine? It wouldn't matter how hard you worked, your life would be a struggle. An accurate view of self always leads to gratitude. That's one of the better kind of encouragement to embrace gratitude that I've heard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just to be born yourself is just, you came online in America, be grateful. You came online in a family that didn't beat you up too bad, be grateful.
Just being born in America.
Just being born in America is just a pile of gratitude.
Yeah.
He was talking about, I think in his latest book, which I haven't read, but he was talking about a passage from it on a pod that I listened to recently, where he was talking about, he applied the same logic to Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps won 23 medals. And he was talking about how he sort of did his like math on Michael Phelps and the accomplishments. And he said Michael Phelps had about 3% to do with it. And I thought that was, I mean, imagine being Michael Phelps and you're like, yeah, I mean, you have 3% to do with this.
Yeah.
But he broke it down a little bit. I don't remember everything, but he was like, he was born in America. He was born, I forget how tall he is, but he's like 6'4" or something. He was born with like his wingspan is freakishly long. His hands are freakishly long. His feet, like he's just born muscle.
Makeup. There's this book that I give away all the time, and if I have one, I'll give it to you. It's called The Person and the Situation.
Okay.
It's written by these two Stanford professors, and that's what the whole book is about.
Oh, really?
So it just basically starts off, I think they use Tom Brady as the example. And He's like, if Tom Brady got drafted by the Browns, how would that have worked out?
Right. Malcolm Gladwell talks about this a lot, right? So
that book, Malcolm Gladwell writes the intro to that book.
He does.
In the newer versions. Cool. But he credits that book for his whole style.
Oh, really?
Of writing. He couldn't afford the book, so he photocopied it in the New York Library. But he tells that story, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's very Gladwellian in that sense. Sure. But that kind of like flip, is that it? Here, Josh, let's give him one. See, I give this book away all the time.
Oh,
because we think as humans.
Thank you so much.
Because we're humans, right? So we think we're so special.
Yeah, we're not.
And it really has more to do with the team that drafts you, the coaches that are there, the system they run.
Yeah. And
it's the same thing with life. Is like it has more to do with where you're born, who your parents were, your genetics, all of that. And if you're in a good situation where you can actually contribute and you have the freedom to do that, gratitude should be the default setting.
Yeah, and then there's also like less control there, right? If you have 2% to do with the outcome of whatever, blah, 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 like that's like, only 2%. Like there's a lot of power in that because there's way less control, which is one of his main points in this book. That's awesome.
Okay, this is probably the best part of the book, I think.
Yeah,
it's the drop the mic.
Yeah.
But it's in the middle of the book.
Yeah.
So you want to read this one? So it's page 88.
Where am I at? 88. Yeah. Will having a newborn distract you from the time we have together, she asked. Don't you think saying goodbye to your child will make your death more painful?
Oh, wait, so I should set this up.
Okay, yeah.
This is a guy who's dying of cancer, talking to his wife about having a kid. So he has terminal cancer. He's dying.
Yep. Okay.
And he's talking to her about having a kid.
Okay.
Will having a newborn distract from the time we have together, she asked. Don't you think saying goodbye to your child will make your death more painful?
Wouldn't it be great if it did? I replied. Lucy and I both felt that life wasn't about avoiding suffering. Oof. Well, give me chills. Wow. I mean, that's I mean, if that's not a key to life, I don't know what is.
It's crazy.
It's wild. I mean, if you extrapolate that, it's like to avoid suffering. I feel like that's why there are a certain sect of people that are so unhappy, right? Because it's like
we're just avoiding pain. That's all we do.
Yeah.
But sometimes the pain is where the magic is.
It's not even sometimes. I think all of the time. Like, I think literally all the time. Like, that friction, I forget who, I overheard someone say this, so this is not mine, but like, friction creates happiness. Like, it's not even, in my estimation, it's not even sort of right. It's like, it's 100% right. It's like, that's the issue that I'm having living here. It's like, I'm living a life right now with no friction, and that's why I'm feeling like this place is so empty, whatever. But it's like, it's my fault. Like, I need to go out and grab my own food, or I need to go out and do whatever. So, but this passage is wild.
Let's go to 263. And this is just a simple quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, "This time, like all times, is a very good one if we but know what to do with it." And that's just kind of crazy. Like, I think a lot of people don't know what to do with the time. They're spending it in the wrong way.
If you start thinking about time as like a glass of water, it starts to kind of freak me out. Like, every single day you take a drop out of the water and drop it in the trash, drop it in the water, drop it in the trash. It's like, that starts to freak me out. And he's right. It's like, you feel like you have all this time, and you don't, and you're misusing it. You ever see that movie, I think it was called Timeless or some shit? I don't remember, but they had like a wristband, and like that's how much time they had left, and they would like give minutes or whatever, and that's how much time they had left to die. It was like it doesn't matter, but like that's how I think about it. And like do you feel like you're like handling your time not appropriately, but like do you feel like you are?
I mean, I'm always trying to improve on it.
Yeah.
I'm always recalculating and thinking about it, and wondering too, like, if I shouldn't have a big reinvention. Dude, like, it's been a while. I'm doing the same thing for a long time.
Me too.
I feel like it might be time for me to do something else.
Dude, me too. I'm literally, I researched ayahuasca retreats recently. And I don't even know what that means, but I'm just like, I need to switch something up. Like, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I love my job, and I love my life, and I love my girlfriend, and I love my dog. And my family's awesome, and I love them too. But it's like, yeah, I'm feeling like I need, not even a reinvention, just like just to switch something up. Because I feel like I'm doing what that passage is. I feel like I'm doing the opposite of what that passage is.
I'm very aware if I become too comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's uninspiring. It's routine.
So then if you're not inspired, if you're feeling like you're just doing the rinse and repeat thing, what have you done in the past to just switch it up? Is it like a move? Is it like a...
So yeah, like I kind of understand this at a deep level. You got to change your environment. You got to change kind of the way you dress.
Okay.
Like, get a new wardrobe. I would liken it to, people that are in recovery.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time, if, like, say you live in Silver Lake and you're an addict, and you go to rehab and you go back to Silver Lake,
right,
you will most likely relapse, because just the patterns of driving down the same street, the same friends, you're just going to go score.
Yeah.
So the best thing is to move to, Austin, Texas, or
right.
And completely reprogram your friends, your environment, listen to different music, different house, everything. Like, I did that during COVID. I moved to WeHo from downtown. I bought a different car. I completely redid my wardrobe. Like, I just redid everything, and it works.
Wow, that's interesting. I've never heard
about. But you gotta really snap it. You can't, if you're going to the same gym, driving the same car on the same road.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
I didn't even think about the wardrobe thing. And it's like I guess it's not a subtle thing, but in my head it's a little subtle, but it's like, yeah, it's doing the same thing that you're saying. It's doing like, you get a new car, you get new jeans and a new thing and a new haircut. It's like, yeah, you're energetically different because you're feeling different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it changes the energy of everything. Like it's a different energy.
I'm going to move to London, I think, tomorrow.
London's the second best city.
Yeah.
London's New York, but clean and proper.
Yeah. The only time I've ever been to London, I've been twice, but it's just for work. So I'm literally in the middle of a tour. So I land, do the show, and have to wake up at 4 a.m. and fly out. So I've never like experienced the city.
Oh, you should spend a week there.
No,
it's a great city.
I just want to
great bookstores.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last one here that we had highlighted on 275, and this we could talk about this one forever, but I just love. I love the way that he words things.
Yeah.
So it's number 4 in a series of points. He says, how can I have a strong sense of self if I am selfless? Then he says, ironically, the most powerful way to have a strong sense of self is to be completely selfless.
The most powerful way to have a strong sense of self is to be completely selfless. Yeah, of course.
Like everybody I've ever met, and there's a thing that's funny about this show, right? Because people consistently are reading books about learning to love themselves. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I'm just working on loving myself. Whenever somebody says that, guaranteed they're the most miserable person you'll ever meet. Like you're working on love. Like, so I will say, well, what is love? And they look at you like, oh, they're going to give you the best answer.
Yeah.
And then they don't have one.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I'm like, you can't even explain what love is.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to do this thing for yourself that you don't even know what it is. Like love is like you love your family different than you love it. Like and so you're going to love yourself, then break up with yourself and get back. I'm like, it's nonsense. Like there's that old Buddhist like kind of parable of, you know, if you're unhappy, lock up your house and go serve somebody else.
Sure.
Like it's in the value you create in the world for others. Mm-hmm. That's where you're going to find yourself. That's what you're going to learn about yourself the most in that. You're not going to learn about yourself by internalizing your feelings and just kind of having your feelings flip over on themselves. You're going to go crazy. And you'll be in therapy for the rest of your life talking about yourself. Like, at some point, you gotta contribute to others. We're social beings. We're tribal. Like, it's about contributing to society in a way that makes somebody's life better. Or
I think that's why when I flipped it, and again, I'm not 100%. I don't do this 100% of the time. I need to start doing it, and this talk is helping. But like that changing my relationship to shows was so invaluable because that became selfless.
Yeah.
Because this is
about them.
It's about them and not even to think about myself. And when I do it, it's crazy powerful because 1, the show goes insane. And 2, because I leave the show not like, ooh, look what I did. Everybody laughed. Oh, look at my. It's about, I leave being like, I am so happy that those people are now happy.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that should matter. And yeah, well, I travel the world doing that. And that's like, if I can more consistently flip that, I think this passage becomes my life and in a crazy way. So yeah, I think I appreciate you highlighting this because this is
simple,
powerful stuff.
But it's very profound.
All the most powerful stuff is just simple. It's like, you know, just focus on the moment. Everyone says that and you're like, oh yeah, cool. Have you ever just focused on the moment? It's wild how powerful it is.
Yeah. It's funny, you know, when I was trying to get over my fear of public speaking, because I would get like sick.
Like literally nauseous?
Literally. Couldn't do it. I would chicken out. Like, and, you know, people say like picture people naked and all that. None of that worked for me.
What is even happening?
Or whatever. But what did work for me is if I knew who the audience was and I really prepared something that I thought would genuinely help them.
Yep.
I forgot about myself.
Yep.
It wasn't about me, so there was no reason for me to be nervous because I didn't exist.
Right.
Only they existed. I was serving them.
Right. It wasn't about judgment.
And it made me work harder on the content.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
Then it's like you forget that you were afraid of public. You're not a part of the equation at all.
Right. And that's exactly what this is.
Mm-hmm. No,
you find yourself by being selfless.
So the big question, how did inner excellence train your mind for extraordinary performance and the best possible life by Jim Murphy change your life?
I think it just started to make me really investigate why I do what I do. And I don't think I ever asked myself that question. I think I was so just focused on making it that I never asked myself, why am I doing this? Like, why? And I think that was the biggest takeaway, where I just started asking myself that question. And it's wild how that changed my life on a moment-to-moment basis, especially if I'm creating. In the back of my head, I'm like, why am I doing this? Is not for, if I try to make this piece of art not about myself, it becomes an incredible piece of art. And that's the biggest change.
Well, thank you for picking this book. Thank you for sharing your story. It's incredible and very inspirational. For the audience, if they want to contact you or support you, where do you want them to go?
On tour now. Where's my camera? This one? Great. On tour now, forever. I never stop touring. I'm going to fire my agent soon. I'm just joking, Andrew. I love you. BlauComedy.com. Tickets on sale for the rest of my life. BlauComedy.com.
Good job.
Thanks, man. Yay!
We are so excited to announce the Books That Changed My Life website. We made a way for you to show your book pride and that you love books. Hats, tees, hoodies. Check it out. Link in the description. Everybody needs a self-help hat.